Let's begin with what's perhaps the most important choice that we make in the arena of relationships. Indeed, we make it in all areas of our lives. It's this: am I satisfied with the status quo? We're all born into an existing system, a biological system, an ecological system, a cult or cultural system, a family system. And that system produces a probability field. And within that probability field, if you look at the statistics of 1,000 relationships in your country, if you look at the statistics of well-being and happiness in your family system, those will give you your odds, right? So if you live in a cult or culture where 1% of the people in relationships are profoundly satisfied, and 10, 20, 30% are miserably lonely, frustrated, driven to suicide, driven to depression, driven to addiction, trying to make sense of things. And others are getting by, fitting in, able to survive, maybe even moving on to thriving a little bit within that dynamic. If you have an honest statistical overview of the system into which you are born, that will tell you your odds. And within those odds, you can notice your location. Now, generally speaking, 99% of the time, the people who are at the top of their cult, of their family system, the chosen child, is not usually the one to rebel. The rich, right? The rich president, the rich mayor, right? Within the statistical paradigm, within the statistical system that you're in, the people at the top of the system, the handsome man who can get any woman, the beautiful woman who can get any man, the person who aces all their grades in school, right? School is a system, and school produces suicide. It's profoundly incompatible for a certain demographic of people that no matter how hard they try, they just cannot manage to even, get a passing grade. Right? They may be excellent dancers. They might be the best entertainer in the world, but they can't do math. They can't do this. It's not a good system for them. It's demoralizing. They fail over and over again. Some kill themselves. Some take up addiction. Some become bullies. Trying to manage that pain of disappointment and failure. Right? But there's also, on the other side, there's the top student. Right? The top student, the handsome and beautiful student, the likable student, the one everyone wishes they could be like. They're up at the top. Maybe 1%, maybe 2%. They're up at the top. Now, the people who are winning within an established status quo do not need to do anything. They easily passed all the tests. They're easily liked. They got the best pick of the partner. They got a good job. They're not the ones that transform a system. Why? Because it takes effort, right? And so the question around life or around a relationship, right, is, first of all, you need to understand that the system is a habit of protocols. All a system is a series of protocols, patterns of thinking, feeling, speaking, doing, and being, that produce a statistical outcome when the vast majority of people do those protocols most of the time. Right? And those protocols are working for you, right? If you're a white male in the 90s who's heterosexual, who's rich, for whom school comes easy, the system is working for you. Right? Warren Buffett commented that, if he was born in the 15th century, if he was born in a country that had no stock market, he was terrible at sports, he was awkward in relationship, he would have been bullied, beaten, marginalized, maybe gotten sick, right? Apologized for, nothing special, right? But in a particular moment in time, having an analytical mind and an interest in money makes Warren one of the most successful people in the world, right? So it's about the unique individual and how they fit in the system. So for obvious reasons, the people at the top of a system not only do not want the system to change, they defend the system. They spend energy to make sure the system does not change because the system is good for them. Those protocols are producing fabulous result for the top 1%. Now, who transforms the system? The bottom 1%. The reasons are obvious. The system is not doing a good job for you. The cult is your enemy. The norm is a disaster, right? If you're autistic, if you're highly sensitive in a desensitized, rather unconscious environment, is it going to end in your suicide? Is it going to create chronic misery? Right? There's another demographic. You could call this the midpoint, for whom the system's not great, it's not bad. But the people that transform, that change the form of the protocol, are always ill-served by the protocol. And what they're after is a new norm that creates better results for them. Now, anytime you create a revolution, right? Every cycle has a pattern, right? And so when you create a revolution, you take the system all the way around into chaos and back into a slightly better order. If you don't, you just create chaos and a mess. And it takes effort, right? So who's motivated to spend that effort? The misfits, the dissatisfieds, people who are in pain, people who are invisible, people who are ill-served and abused by the status quo. They are the harbingers of change. They are the harbingers of revolution, of evolution, of growth, of innovation. And so the most important question to ask yourself is, where are you on this list? Because a course, a class, an effort to change the norm, to change the pattern, means rejecting the old pattern, identifying its flaws, facing the fear of the unknown, a terrifying prospect for many, trying on a new system, iterating, practicing, and continuing to practice until the new system outperforms the old system. It then involves recruiting people into the system, right? Because if you invent, let's say you're a pioneer, you're fed up with the first USB ports. You're fed up with them. They're clunky, they're big, you're always putting the thing in the wrong way. USB-A, USB-B ports, right? You're putting them in the wrong way. You put the thing in, no, that's not the right way. Try it that way. You're tired of that. What a dumb system. This is driving you nuts. So you invent USB-C. It's wonderful, isn't it? Half the size, cheaper to produce, and you can't get it wrong. How about that for a change? It's more capable, it's faster, more powerful, smaller, cheaper, and you can't get it wrong. It's a way better system. There's just one thing. You've now got to recruit other people. You've got to get suppliers, manufacturers to put their mouse in USB-C, to put their power jack in USB-C. Otherwise, you're all alone in a network of one. Now, what's the problem with being all alone in a network of one? Well, the problem is that you can't get the latest power bank. You can't get anything to work. You've got a better port, but it hasn't spread. It hasn't gone viral. You've got the best operating system, but no one's writing any software for it. No one knows how to plug in. And so you've got to recruit people from crappy operating systems and teach them how to use your operating system. Now that takes time, it takes energy, it's a pioneering effort. And so even though a USB-C is 10 times better than the first USB port, because it's cheaper, faster, you can't get it wrong, it's good for the environment, it's good for you, good for the suppliers. Even though that is the case, you've got to work your ass off to make that the new standard. Unless you've got enormous clout, enormous mass, right? Apple couldn't resist USB-C. They tried to, right? But it's too good a technology if the other ones, if Google and Microsoft add USB-C, well, Apple gave in and its Pro iPads have USB-C, right? They keep their crappy adapters for the consumer because they can pull that, right? But a business person is not going to put up with stupidity when better options are available. So that's the challenge. And that's the question for you. Are you satisfied? Are you willing to put up with the mediocrity, the divorce, the misunderstanding, the addiction, the traumatic outbursts, the grief, the depression, the loneliness? That is the statistical norm of our cult's rendition of relationships. Because if you're in the above average category, you're not likely to be motivated. You don't need to change the system. But if that bothers you, if it bothers you, the amount of pain that comes from misunderstanding that could have been easily avoided, the amount of misery in the sloppy way so many people end relationships, the unconsciousness in so many new relationships. If that bothers you enough to learn a new protocol, to clumsily try out the new protocol, to get good at the new protocol, and then to invite others to practice that protocol, then you get the benefit of a 10x relationship, something that works 10 times better. You get all the benefits of USB-C. But your partner needs the right dongle, right? You can set up your port to receive it, right? But initially, you may have to teach, you may have to say, not like that, don't connect with me like this, connect like this. And look at the speed, look at the efficiency. Because then you're ready to be a pioneer. Not because it's easier. It takes effort, it takes love, it takes care to be a pioneer. But that's what this is about.